Hey everyone, happy early evening. Pardon me while I just break out in hives. I look at myself, I was like, what the? There's no covering it. It's growing. I have no idea why. It doesn't itch, so I'm just going to let it go for now. Only me, I swear to God. Could be worse. I could be sitting in a garden wearing a hat acting crazy, so I guess I'm good. Good today. I'm very good today. Hey, tennis girl, thank you for being here. You were gone last weekend, other obligations. Well, I hope it was fun obligations, not like legal obligations. Hey, Brady Star, how are you? I'm just missing that. Yeah. I have hats, but I don't garden. So if I was out in the garden wearing a hat, talking to myself, there would be other issues. What would be going on? Who is making dinner for your husband? Oh, you'll have to ask him because it ain't me. No. I'll make dinner when I get home. That's so funny. I don't know why that tickled me because I'm like, I made dinner yesterday, so you could always have that left over. I made baked ziti when I got home from my full day of real estate and being a student and going to church. I had a full day. The Chinese restaurant. You know, I wish Chris, he does not like Chinese as much. He likes Japanese. Not me, man. I want some General Tso's. I like heat. I need heat in my food, but not after this. Literally, it's growing down my neck. I have no idea why. You're using your phone, Norma. Did you move yet? Did you move? Did your guy ever show up with a moving truck and buy your house? Who's sitting in the... You know who. I didn't... Yeah, someone sent me a photo of a gal. People do it all the time. I think I call them the tomato hat ladies. Is that odd? So, you know, like when you're in the South and these ladies pick tomatoes, it's kind of like a scene from Steel Magnolias, Weezer. She talks about the tomatoes. And I was like, oh, the tomato hat lady. You're good in Western New York. Well, I'm good in the panhandle of Florida. I'm in Tallahassee, Florida. If you don't know me, I'm Patty Wilson. And this is Patty's Playhouse. It's probably not the best name for true crime when you think about it. And I usually speak stream of consciousness, which isn't always helpful, but I do. So today, what did I do today? Well, I didn't get in here till 11 because we had storms yesterday and Saturday. I think we got like 5 inches at my house, 5 inches of rain. I'll be more specific. We have 5 inches of rain. And I'm going to turn this down a little bit because I don't want to see my neck all the time. It's making me a little, like, it's distracting me. So I'm just going to look at the red fireplace. So we had tons of rain and my dog was losing his head. So I gave him some trazodone. We didn't go to sleep till like 2. So I slept in. I didn't even go to mass this morning. So I felt bad, not like bad, like Catholic guilt bad, but I just always try to go to mass Monday morning, start my week, but I didn't. So I'll go tomorrow. And then I thought tomorrow was a Donna Adelson case management hearing, but it's not. It's March 25th. It didn't get changed. It's just I wrote it. I typed it incorrectly in my calendar. So I always check in advance, and I did, and it's not till the 25th, which is good because I have like 3 Zooms to be on tomorrow. So what else did I do? I got so much work caught up today that I actually went through old business cards and threw them away. Yep. Tons of stuff I got caught up on. Very happy with that. While I literally watch chives extend down my neck. Oh, mine does. Yeah. He definitely, since that tornado last May, he definitely has anxiety, which you can't blame him. Oh, thank you. These are Betsy Johnson, who I love. And I got them like 3 for, I don't know, like $12 at Marshall's. And the brown ones snapped. The arm snapped off. Send pizza. I know. What time on the 25th? It's at 2:30 in the afternoon. 2:30. It's a case manager. She will not be present. She will be on Zoom. So if you look at the docket, it says courtroom Z, which means Zoom. It only took me like a year to figure that out. Thank you for being a member for 4 months, Shelly F. And I finally learned how, at least today, not say your last name. But that's all in green for St. Patty's Day. It's pretty cool. Look at that. Love it. It's Patty with a D too, by the way. You love Betsy Johnson, so do I. Big fan. But when the arms just like came off, I was like, quality, Betsy, quality. They have separation anxiety. Well, Chris is home with him almost all the time now. So he doesn't really have that, I would say. But when I get home late at night, he's sitting on, I have a chair when you walk in the door to the left, overstuffed chair. And he's on the back of it waiting for me. He loves me. Probably because I don't put a bark collar or shock him on a regular basis or at all. Hi, Michelle. How are you? You don't make lasagna anymore. Now I make lasagna roll-ups. Great for a freezer. Well, you're probably going to laugh, but I've never made baked ziti before. I don't know why I got it in my head to make it, but it was really good. It was yummy. Hey, John, how are you? John has new music. I haven't listened to it. So I decided not to listen to it till we listen to it together. Hey, peeps. All is well in California. Walking your pup. Perfect time for hanging with my peeps. I heard there was a little tiny earthquake in Malibu. Hello, Socorro. Hi, Margaret. How are you? Every town I'm checking out to retire goes on fire or floods. Well, we didn't have flooding. There was flash flood watches, but we didn't have flooding. There was a road over by the college I go. That main road had some flooding, but it's really just bad drainage. But we didn't flood. But I do have flood insurance on my house just in case, because I don't believe anybody. You made your confirmation dress from a Betsy Johnson. Oh, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it. I mean, obviously I'm a bigger girl, so I can't dress like Betsy Johnson. But if I was a waif, if I was tiny and waifish, I would be all Stevie Nicks and Betsy Johnson-ish. Like flowy. Because I don't like clothes that touch me. Like big. I don't want anything cumbersome, so I would be all flowy. Like, I just love Stevie Nicks like that. If I could just get away with black, like napkins, lacy napkins as a dress, I would. Now you know my style. I do. Well, I mean, mostly for work, I wear jeans and blouses. And I've been cold, so I've been wearing this jean jacket just about every day. Even outside, it's like 63, but I'm freezing. So I don't know if I have like rain odds all of a sudden or something, but I'm absolutely freezing. And I usually just wear like I wear preppy stuff because of my height and weight. But if I were skinny, like skinny waifish, 5'4"-ish, I would wear boots. I can't wear boots. My calves are like thighs for normal people. Can't wear them. You wore Betsy Johnson scrubs to work today. Oh, I didn't even know she had them. I didn't know that. West Tennessee over by TSC, which is now Tallahassee State College, has always flooded, especially a little further down where the railroad underpass is. We have really bad drainage for no reason. It's just poor planning. The town, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about the planning and zoning and growth management of this town that's positive, so I'll just skip it. I think it's trash. So horrible. 63s, that's t-shirt weather. Well, it is if for all of a sudden you're not me. And normally that's exactly, I'd be like, oh my God, it feels, and it still feels good. I'm just cold all the time. I just don't know. No idea. Buyer had medical issues. Finger crossed we close Friday and not extend again. Well, it's very kind of you to keep extending, but you said that they gave you more money. Tallahassee doesn't have growth management. They have gross management. I know. They've already shut down basically one road, Gain Street, which takes you to Florida State University, and it used to be a 4-lane. Now they made it a 2-lane, and they added side road parking without enough room to even back your truck out. And you're not allowed to back in. You can only back out, which is un-American to begin with. When you have a truck, you need the width. And it's just, they want more. They don't want people. It's a very liberal town. They just want people to bike everywhere. But that's not how you get around here. If there were neighborhood grocery stores or like bodegas, think like Philly, New York or Miami. We don't have that. And growth management, the planning department calls itself growth management. They want it to be what it isn't. They want it to be Austin. It's not Austin. They want it to be New Orleans. It's not New Orleans. We're too small. We don't have little grocery stores. They can't make it. Not with a bougie Publix down the road. Can't make it. Right? They were going to shut down this Thomasville Road. Takes you basically, it's a fork road off of Monroe Street where the courthouse is. And it'll take you to Thomasville, Georgia, which is super cute, by the way. Really cute town. If you ever come here, it's cute. Our downtown is not cute. Our downtown looks like, I don't know, Croatia or something. It's just concrete buildings. It's not good. Romania, before they stopped banning an election because they didn't like the person that was running, which happened over the weekend. It blew my mind, but it's Romania. So they were going to cut like the turn lane off. Can't have a turn lane now. They said they were going to widen sidewalks on both sides. One was going to be 8 foot wide and one was going to be 6 foot wide. So they were going to take the road, which is hugely traveled, hugely, like huge. Like I was there, I think Saturday at 11 a.m. and it was backed up like a mile. And like, then you're going to take a left turn lane. So everyone just has to stop and turn. There's no like, what are you doing? They want to keep it more pedestrian. I bet more pedestrians would have died. That's what I think. Widen a sidewalk 6. It was just ridiculous. So anyway, they had a public hearing and they had a Zoom. So you could be on Zoom or you could go down to this little church downtown and try to find parking. So I watched the Zoom. They canceled it. So the people have spoken, and a friend of mine, Skip Foster, who used to be the editor of the Tallahassee Democrat, he wrote an article about it. So if you're local and you want to read it, it's on Living Tallahassee. And he talked about how seniors at the senior center, which is county run. I mean, it's an amazing center where if you're over age or whatever age, you can take classes and stuff. And how like 20 citizens got together and thought that this was a good idea, and it wasn't. So it would kill the businesses. The other part about this narrowing of a road, for whatever reason, it's Tallahassee. It would take 2 years to narrow a road. So all of these naturally organic growth of what we call Midtown would be demolished because you can't get around. I wouldn't drive down there if I didn't have to. So it did end. So the people have spoken. Praise God, because I thought all of those little businesses that are really independent, their mom and pop places would have just disappeared. There wouldn't have been anything. So I'm glad. They were going to take 3 lanes into 2 and make large sidewalks with no one walks anyway. No one walks here. No one walks. The homeless people walk right, mainly in the middle of the road, in the dark, in the darkest clothes they could find out of the dumpster. That's pretty much how it works. There's constantly pedestrians being killed right in front of my office. It petrifies me to go home at night. You hit 80 in Omaha? Oh my God. Heavens to Murgatroyd. That's hot. I think it's supposed to get to 77 today. I mean, this week somewhere. Oh, you made it. Oh, you made it for yourself, Lolly. 6th or 7th grade. Good for you. So today I thought we'd watch the Henry Segura trial day 2. Took me a while to find it. They don't have it really organized on the Tallahassee Democrat website, which is tallahassee.com. And Law and Crime, like, I guess at the time they might have taken videos down, but it's blips. It's like little clips, like 45-minute clips. But I figured out where he is. So he's in the Hardy Correctional Institute, which is in Bowling Green, Florida. It's a population of 2,200, and it's due east of Bradenton, Florida. South of Lakeland, east of Bradenton. So it's the middle of nowhere. But I bet there's a lot of growth going around that area. I'm sure there is. So Henry Segura, if you don't know, he was convicted, retried. There was a mistrial. I can't find where the legitimate count is. I know what he wrote in his motion for an illegal sentencing. And Josh Dubin, renowned for coming here to assist Charlie Adelson with his conviction by helping to select the jury. That went really well after $1 million was paid out. Josh Dubin is one of the big attorneys with the Innocence Project, and he is trying to innocence Henry Segura. Not really innocence, because that failed. It's using the 13th Amendment of the United States, which is banning slavery, to either, I haven't found where they're asking for the relief. I think his relief is he wants out, saying that if you have an illegal sentence, then you have no sentence and he should be let out. Or resentencing. I don't know what they're going to do. There's no change to the docket since January when Josh Dubin was added to his defense, his appellate defense. And there was a judge that recused, a female. So there's a new judge on board, but they haven't done anything since January. I'm sure Josh Dubin's running around trying to figure out his life. But I heard today that Lyle and Bro are not getting out of prison. So that made me feel better. No prison relief. I believe the DA, the new DA of LA County, was going to have a press conference sometime this afternoon. They must have lots of donors for that project. Dubin is expensive. He can't be doing this pro bono. He is, but he does take donations if anyone's interested. Yeah, Segura doesn't have any money. He's the fellowship. So you can win, if you're a female attorney, intern, you can win a fellowship to work with Josh Dubin to let out murderers. That's something to strive for. How is your husband, Susan? Yeah, here's his website with it's called what was it called? Sean Carter Foundation is what it's called. It makes me sad to think that I'm from Pennsylvania some days when I read this stuff. So it's the Sean Carter Foundation in collaboration with Coalition for Equity and Opportunity at the Wharton School of the University of Wharton School of Business, with support from Toyota, launched Champions of Financial Legacy for HBCUs. HBCU, if you're not in the United States or if you just don't know, it's a historical Black college and university is HBCU. So they give out scholarships and blah. So here's the fellowship. Apply for the fellowship. The fellowship is currently open to Sean Carter Foundation scholars only. The Carter Foundation scholars who are interested in the Dubin Fellowship will be in the NYC Tri-City area the summer of their junior year. They will each receive a $10,000 award and an intense 7-week welcome to the Innocence Project, ladies and gentlemen. They've had a total of 15 complete. And these are the people that do all the busy work for Josh Dubin. Guaranteed. Here's his fellowship and partners. Let me go to the partner. Makes me never want to buy another pair of Pumas, I'll tell you that. I don't think I do. I don't wear Puma. But I wouldn't wear Puma if I knew. Sad. But when you do... that's my little video right there. Free Henry Segura on Instagram. So you know it's real. Oh, it comes up in Chinese. Just saying. Chinese profile. Imagine spending 13 years of your life locked away, wrongfully convicted and serving a life sentence for a crime you never committed. This nightmare became a reality for Henry Segura, an inmate at the Florida State Correction Institution. All because the police's relentless determination to close the case. No offense, the murder occurred in 2010. Then there's a petition. He wasn't excluded as a DNA match altogether. It was not. Oh, there's my little show. So anyway, look how they do this. Like they use his like high school photo. Free Henry Segura. They don't use the photo where he got arrested. They use this like nonsense. It's nonsense. Help us help Henry. Puke. There you go. Josh Dubin is a dick. Love it. Cooking white chicken chili, trying for a small batch. It's hard to cook for just one or two. Segura is disgusting, so is Dubin. I mean, The libertarian in me goes, capitalism. Then the mom in me goes, he should rot in prison. They're amplifying, his fellowship partners are amplifying the free Henry Segura. Clearly, this isn't really taking off. I mean, it's not becoming a media heyday right now, so that's good. I just think he's trash. Was I at the murder? No. But somebody got in that house without making a lot of noise, and they're trying to blame it on a Mexican cartel who's just showing up at Saddle Creek Run. Just all very sad. So here you go. I'm sorry. I'm literally watching this rash walk down my arm, my neck.
All right, everybody be seated. Call your next witness, Mr. Fuchs.
Your Honor, this time state would recall Artron Simmons.
Okay, you remain under oath, Mr. Timmons.
Mr. Timmons, earlier we were asking you some questions about what time you went and got the kids for the oxtail soup.
Yes, sir.
Back in November 2010, when you were a lot younger, did you talk to law enforcement back then?
Yes, sir.
Did you write a statement out back then?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to go back and look at that and refresh your recollection by looking at that statement as to the time?
Yes, sir.
What time was it?
5:45.
So 5:45, you went and got the kids?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that was written right around the time that you went and, the day of the homicide, the day that you found them, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, no further questions.
Cross.
Just a couple of quick questions. You had a chance to review the whole statement that you wrote back then?
Not the whole thing.
Do you have it with you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also indicated, excuse me, that your mom wanted you to go get paper plates at 6:15, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you would have gotten those, and only after you went and got the plates would y'all, or I guess you weren't with them when they ate, but at that point, after you got the plates, then they would have eaten, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the neighbor that was 14 at the time, and he was recalled as a witness, and I don't know why yet.
No further questions.
Read the record. All right. All right, you step down. Call your next witness.
She calls Annie Presley Williams. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a seat, please, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Williams. Will you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name for the court reporter, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Annie Williams. It's ANNIE WILLIAMS.
And where do you work?
I work at the Broward County Sheriff's Office.
What do you do there?
I'm a criminalist 3 in the fingerprint, the latent section.
Okay. When did you begin working for Broward County Sheriff's Office?
In 2012,
Okay. Where did you work before 2012?
I worked at the Tallahassee Police Department.
And where did you, I guess, what unit of the Tallahassee Police Department did you work in November of 2010?
I worked in the crime scene unit. I was a forensic specialist.
And how long were you a forensic specialist in the crime scene unit at TPD?
I started in 2005, so in 2010, been approximately 5 years.
What type of qualifications, training do you have to work in the forensics unit?
I believe their minimum was just I'm not sure what it is now. I think that it was a 2-year degree, I actually myself, I graduated from Florida State University with a Bachelor in Science in Criminology.
Mhm.
I also attended the Pat Thomas Law Enforcement Academy after graduating from Florida State. And from the academy, I was hired into the Tallahassee Police Department in the crime scene section. And from there, at the time, I attended training classes annually. Currently, I have approximately 1,500 hours of crime scene and latent fingerprint training.
And how many years total have you worked in forensics?
14 years.
We might ought to get her previous name at the time of this incident, just in case somebody refers to her and it causes confusion.
Yes, sir. What was your name at the time that you worked with TPD in November of 2010?
My name was Annie Pressey at the time.
Okay, and that's Pressey?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You mentioned that you have over 1,500 hours in training. What type of specialized courses have you been trained in that are relevant to your forensics experience?
All of those hours are relevant to my forensic experience. I've done multiple latent fingerprint courses. We've done crime scene reconstruction courses, trajectory courses, death investigation courses, blunt force trauma courses. I have my CV, it's just a list of lots and lots of courses.
Okay. You mentioned trajectory training. Is that one of the things that you worked on in this case?
It was, yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell us what that is.
Trajectory, in this case, was referring to the bullets. There's bullet trajectory. Generally, when a bullet fires through something, we need essentially 2 holes to determine a trajectory, but we have these things called dowel rods, D-O-W-E-L, and they come in different caliber sizes depending on the caliber of the weapon that's fired. And if you have an entry and an exit hole, you can put the rod through that hole. It's just a very long stick, and it'll show you whether the angle is upwards or downwards, if it goes left to right or right to left. That way you can determine where the bullet went. But in order for us to do that, we have to have an entry and an exit. And sometimes that's just not feasible when we arrive on scene.
Were you the primary forensic specialist on scene there at Saddle Creek Run on November 20th, 2010?
I was.
Okay. In general, can you walk us through how you document and collect evidence when you're processing a crime scene?
Different evidence is documented or collected differently. Generally, overall, when we arrive on the crime scene, I start by photography documentation. So in this particular case, when I got on scene, the first documentation type that I did was videotape. So I videotaped the entire inside of the scene before anything was handled or moved by us. From the video documentation, I started photography. So I started taking pictures of the outside and the inside of the crime scene.
After video and photography, do you swab items that you think may possibly have DNA that could be helpful to the case?
Yes, we do. First, what I did is marked all of the items of evidence throughout the house before we started collecting them. So I marked all of the evidence with scales. For some of the cases, it's a scale. It's just a small kind of sticky thing we put on walls, and it's got measurements in inches and millimeters. And then we photograph that again, showing that this is essentially what I'm going to collect, and this is what it looks like. And we also have larger scale evidence markers, we call them, with numbers on them as well. So we lay those down so that when we take pictures, like overall pictures, you can see where all of the evidence is in these particular areas.
And when you're swabbing an item, can you explain to the jury how you swab an item and what is a swab?
A swab is basically a very large Q-tip. So we get them from the forensic companies that we order them from. It is a very large Q-tip and a paper kind of casing that it's sealed and sterile. So it's one individually in each one. So when you open up the casing, you take out the swab. When we also had vials of distilled water, it's just a small vial that you have to rip off the top, sterile as well. And we would put drops of the distilled water onto the Q-tip. And then we would swab the area that we were going to collect the item from. And then it would go back into its case that I opened and then into an evidence envelope that we provided and sealed after that.
Okay. And in addition to collecting these swabs, do you also sometimes collect actual items from a scene that you then impound into evidence to Tallahassee Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when I say impounding into evidence, what does that mean?
We collect it. So it was things that we also collect on scene. They are sealed and evidence taped, and we have a property and evidence section at the police department where everything was sent to them after the scene was finished.
Okay. All right. So I want to go back to November 20th, 2010. You told us you were the primary forensic specialist there that day, but there were other folks from your team there with you as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What time did you arrive to 908 Saddle Creek Run that day?
It was approximately 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And what was the first thing that you did when you arrived?
I met with the on-scene supervisors who had already staged a scene, which is why they called us out, and they informed us of what they located inside the house. At the time, they had found Brandi Peters in the foyer, and they located 2 children from what they believed to be in a bathtub.
Okay, so you arrived after the scene had been secured, after first responders arrived, and at that point, did you begin to collect, or I guess document evidence and document the scene?
No, not at that point. When I first arrived, they had notified me that there was a 3rd child that they believed was in the home. And so they asked me to go inside with an armed officer to see if we could locate the 3rd child. So we did go inside, and inside of the bathtub area, officers had originally seen only 2 children. And when I went in, I found the 3rd child. And so we immediately came out and were told that we needed to secure a search warrant for the scene. So at the time, until the search warrant was signed, we just had to stage outside of the scene.
Okay. After the search warrant was secured, at that point, did you begin processing the scene?
I did. We started with the documentation.
Okay. That was the videos and the photos that you told us about?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What were you wearing when you actually processed and documented this crime scene?
Anytime we entered in the crime scene, I was wearing Tyvek boots. They're essentially large plastic covered boot coverings that go over your feet to avoid leaving any kind of impressions or dropping anything from our shoes into the crime scene, and latex gloves so that we didn't leave any of our fingerprints while we touch things or contaminate anything with our fingerprints.
Okay, and when you first went in, what did you notice about the condition of the home as far as the lights were concerned?
There were lights on in the hallway bathroom, and it was, I guess, the shared bathroom, the main bathroom in the home, and also in JaVante, the small boy victim's bedroom. And that was all that was on in the home at the time.
What about TVs?
There was a television on in the master bedroom, Brandi Peters' room, and there was also a TV on in the twin girls' bedroom.
Was the back door locked or unlocked?
It was both. The back door had a bottom handle lock, the original where you turn the handle, so that lock was locked, but it also above it had a deadbolt that was unlocked.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, the deadbolt you would lock from the inside of the home.
Yes.
The bottom lock was the kind that you could either push in or twist as you exit the home to lock the door?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I want you to take us through the scene, and what I'm going to do is try to go room by room, the areas that you processed. Judge, does this microphone, will it pick up if I testify or if I ask the questions from the projector?
But that's not a courtroom microphone.
All right.
You just gotta keep your voice up.
Yes, sir. You started the courtroom with the microphone.
Yeah.
All right, so have you had an opportunity to view all of, or a substantial amount of the photos that you took from the scene that day?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And I guess, did you try to take a photo of each room from each angle and then every item of evidence that you collected?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so when you viewed the photos from that first notebook I brought you, are those the photos from the back door and exterior and hallway area of the home?
They are, yes, ma'am.
All right, and did you, are they true and accurate depictions of the photos that you took that day or what you saw at the scene that day?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
All right, at this time, by stipulation, Judge, I'd move into evidence case A through NN.
It's my understanding we were gonna admit States Exhibit 1 through 146.
Yes,
And that would include composite exhibits. Is that the stipulation?
Yes,
So they'll all be admitted.
Yes, sir. So what I'll do is I'll go through each room, if I could just have permission to publish, as we go throughout the house.
Certainly, certainly. And let me just say to the jury, stipulation means that attorneys have agreed to something. We encourage stipulations when things are undisputed. There's no sense wasting your time and my time and their time over something that's undisputed. So the parties have agreed that these exhibits are authentic and admissible, and so you should consider them as such.
I want to turn your attention to the notebook that you have in front of you, not the photos, but the actual sleeves.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me, if you recognize State's Exhibit 9 through 25? And you had a chance to look at those?
I did.
Before today? Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
did you recognize those as the items that you collected from that back door hallway area of the home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are they in the same condition as when you encountered them in the evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I could get those photos from you.
Thank you.
I bought the laser pointer on the stand for you, so that you can let the jury know what you're seeing in each photo. All right, what do we see here in 8A?
This is a photograph of the back of the home. I'm just standing at the side of the house, taking a photo towards the back of the home. That's where we decided to enter and exit the home because Brandi was in the front foyer of the home, so we didn't want to disturb any evidence as we went through.
I'm seeing some sort of fence over here. Is the back of the home accessible from the front of the home without having to go through a gate or anything like that?
Yes, it is. There are only side fences on the home. I don't know if they were hers or if it was shared fences from the other property owners, but there was no fence in the front of the house blocking entry into the back.
All right, what do we see in 8B?
That's a picture of the back door of the home where we made entry to go and document the scene.
So the way that floor plan is laid out, there's either a hallway or it comes off of a bedroom. Sometimes it's a hallway. It's built by Premier Homes. It's still in business. And a short hallway will extend, or it's directly out of a bedroom, which a lot of people have a problem with when they go for resale, which can you imagine?
AC?
It's just a close-up image of the back door of the home.
What do we see here at the bottom of 8C?
There's a curtain inside the home, and behind the curtain was kind of like a a paper kind of blind that looked like it covered from the top to the bottom of it, and that just looked like it was torn when we ended up going inside to photograph it. So it's just a tear in the paper part of the blind area there.
Did you find any pieces of the torn paper shade or blind inside the home?
We didn't.
What conclusions did you make about that as far as when the blind may have been torn?
It didn't seem to have been torn recently. Otherwise, I would have expected it to have been in the outside of the home or the inside of the home, unless it was taken away.
Okay. What do you see in 8B?
This is a picture of the back door, but this was me now inside of the home. I'm standing in the hallway area taking a picture of the back door from the inside.
And in 8B?
That's a photograph I took of the locks of the back door. Like I mentioned before, there was I was noting that the deadbolt was in the open position, so it was unlocked, but the bottom door was locked in the locked position.
Okay, so that's twisted into a vertical position, the bottom one?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and did you collect any evidence from the doorknob?
I did. I collected swabs of the doorknob and the deadbolt area of the door as well.
Okay, I want to turn your attention in your binder there to State's Exhibit 9 and 10. What are State's Exhibit 9 and 10?
9 is the swab of the exterior rear doorknob that I took, and 10 is the interior rear doorknob that I took.
Okay, and when you say a swab, you're taking that long Q-tip that you talked to us about and taking it around, are you taking it around the entire doorknob?
The entirety of the doorknob, yes, ma'am.
Okay. What do we see in 8F?
8F was just documentation. There are obviously markings here on the door area, so I was just documenting that there were some scrapes and marks there, but there didn't appear to be any damage to the actual lock parts of the door.
There didn't appear to be any forced entry to the back door.
There didn't appear to be any, no ma'am.
All right, and then 8G.
It's a photograph of there was a red curtain when I took the picture of the inside of the back door, and that's a suspected area of blood that I located on that curtain area. So I put, those are one of the scales that I had mentioned, so we put a scale on it, and it has a number of the item of evidence that I was using to collect it as. So I can take the picture showing what it was, and then I collected a swab of that area.
And 8H.
That's a close-up picture of that same area that was in the previous picture. It's showing the area of the swab, and then my item number of evidence and the scale showing the measurements of the stain.
Okay, and in your notebook there, you have State's Exhibit 11.
I do.
What is State's Exhibit 11?
That is the swab of the suspected blood from the rear door curtain that I took.
Okay, so that's the swab of the suspected blood that we see in this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and just so the jury knows what you're kind of looking at up there, can you hold up your notebook and the sleeve? Okay, so in each sleeve you have a
It's just
different
different.
packet.
Yeah, different envelopes of my evidence items.
I know earlier we talked about, if I can see the last exhibit you talked about, thank you. Earlier we talked about what impounding something into evidence means. I just wanted for us to all be on the same page here. So when you're looking at one of the items in your notebook that you impounded into evidence, how do you know that what the item is and that you were the person that impounded it?
Yes, ma'am. So on every item of evidence that we collected at the Tallahassee Police Department, it says we had our case number here. So this was a particular case number for the case. It had my item number. So that was the item that coincided with the scale picture that I took. A description of what I took, the type of the case, the number that we used for the case, my name, my badge number, and the date that I collected the item.
All right, thank you.
Notice Mr. Fuchs was trying to show off that he knows how to work the machine. Okay.
And what's all this tape that we see here?
So this is evidence tape. In particular, my evidence tape is here. These were the two, on each of these envelopes, there are two openings. Well, there's one opening, but it's a sealed little fold here. But in the event that it comes undone for any reason, we evidence tape the top and the bottom of all of the seals to show that if it was opened, I would know about it. So we evidence tape it with our Tallahassee Police Department evidence tape. I put my initials, my badge number, and the date that I sealed it. Up here is actual evidence tape from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, so it appears it went to them for testing. And they generally break open the container outside of my seal so that I can still say that my seals were intact, and they have broken it somewhere else and they'll seal it on their own as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. What do we see in 8I?
This is a photograph of me at the end of the hallway, taking a picture inside of the hallway area of the home.
And then 8J. A little difficult to see. I'll just move the picture down.
Okay. Those are one of the other types of evidence markers that I was talking about, where we have the item numbers. So I've laid out the items of evidence that I'd like to collect in the hallway and started marking them. So these are my pictures showing what the item numbers are in relation to where I've collected these items in the hallway.
Okay. Thank you. So all the different numbers that we see here are next to spots of what you think may be suspected blood, and you're marking them so that you'll swap them and impound them in evidence.
Yes, ma'am, for these items they are.
Okay, and these go all the way back to the end of the hallway here?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you say suspected blood?
Because we don't actually test for blood on scene. They have presumptive positive test for blood, but we didn't do that at the time. So the blood testing is done by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So we call it suspected blood until it's actually confirmed by FDLE that it's blood.
Okay, and what do we see in 8K?
It's another picture. It's the same area where I'm taking a picture down the hallway showing my evidence markers and the items of evidence that I'm going to collect.
All right, if you look in your notebook, at State Exhibits 12 through 17.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like for you to walk us through what 12 through 17 are as we go through the photos.
Okay.
Let me first go to State's Exhibit 8L.
So in States Exhibit 8L, it is the evidence markers for my items of evidence 3 and 4, and States Exhibits 12 and 13. Those are the swabs of suspected blood on the hallway that I collected.
And in States 8M?
Is my evidence 5 and 6, which are States Exhibits 14 and 15. And again, there are more swabs of suspected blood in the hallway.
And then States Exhibit 8N?
So 8N is showing 7, 8, and 9 evidence markers. 7 is States Exhibit 16, which is a swab of suspected blood. And States 17 is my item number 8, again, a swab of suspected blood.
Okay. And so that exhibit would be at number 8 here, which is closest, going to be closest to the bathroom at the end of the hall.
Yes, ma'am, that's the bathroom entrance over there.
And do you, on those swabs that you have in your notebook, do you label them approximately where they're found in the hallway, closest to the hallway bath, trying to differentiate them?
On these, I didn't, only because the photographs document where they were located.
I gotcha. Did you do that in your report then?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right, looking at States 8O, what do we see here?
That is the hallway closet that's directly across from the master bedroom in the hallway area.
What do we see in 8P?
That's another photo of the hallway closet door, and there's just areas where you can see that there's suspected blood on the door and the wall area, all along the closet door.
Can you show that to us?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So here's areas of suspected blood. You can see down here as well, and here as well.
Okay, and did you also see some areas of suspected blood in 8O?
Yes, ma'am. There's suspected blood here, here, and there.
Okay, so what we have in these two pictures is kind of the middle of the closet door and the lower portion of the closet door.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you swab any of these areas of blood?
I did.
Okay, can you turn your attention to 18 and 19, States 18 and 19?
Yes, ma'am.
What are States 18 and 19?
These are my items 19 and 20 that are swabs of the suspected blood from the hallway door, the hallway closet door, I'm sorry.
When you say my item, do you mean that was the TPD number that you gave it at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you see in your queue?
These are my evidence scales. What I'm looking at here is a suspected bullet hole, entry wound in the door here, and suspected blood there. And that was one of the swabs of the blood that I just mentioned that I took as evidence.
I have a question. If the alternative in this defense theory is a Mexican cartel dude named Santos because she was buying drugs and owed him money, do Mexican cartels leave a massive blood-soaked property when they're done killing children? I mean, would they not want to be in and out, or would they just leave all of that there? Does anyone know?
And they are?
This is a photograph of the inside of that closet door. When I opened the door, I noticed a bullet exit hole. And then there was also shavings from the closet door from, I guess, the dry wood. I'm not sure whatever the door is made of, that wood particle that was located on a towel area here with and it also had a small hole in it. So in this item here, it was a blue towel. I located inside of it a projectile from a bullet, a spent bullet.
I think we'll get to those photos in just a second.
Okay.
State 8S.
That's a side angle of that. It's the same closet door. I'm just taking it from a different angle here. So you can see this suspected bullet entry hole, and there's a blood stain that I took as evidence.
And in T.
That's the bottom of the hall closet door, which was the other swab of evidence that I collected here of suspected blood.
turn your attention to state 20. What is state 20?
It is a swab of suspected blood from the south side wall of the hallway closet.
What do we see in 8U?
That is my item number 20. There we go. It's just a zoomed in photograph of the previous one where it was that suspected blood stain on the bottom corner of the hall closet.
And in 8B?
This is a photograph of a marker, and it's a swab of suspected blood that I was taking from that wall next to the hall closet, and then also you can see the suspected blood areas in there as well.
Okay, and I want to ask you about this swab of suspected blood. You have state 21 in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is state 21?
It's a swab of suspected blood from the wall south of JaVante Segura's bedroom.
And what do we see in 8W?
This is just past JaVante's room on the right, and this is the entrance to the hallway bathroom. And then you can see my evidence markers here for 8 and 9.
Right, and what do we see in 8X?
This is a scale. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it. This is a scale. This is the swab of the suspected blood that I took on that south side wall of JaVante's bedroom that I mentioned earlier in your State's Exhibit 21.
Okay, so this is the swab of that.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Right, and what do we see in state 8AA?
This is just another angle of it, more front end of it, so you can see it better. The swab of the blood with my evidence scale in it.
This would be on the wall opposite the hallway bathroom,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And in State's Exhibit 8BB, this is in a close
It is.
view of that suspected blood.
It is. Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you have State's Exhibit 22.
I do.
What is State's Exhibit 22?
It is that swab of suspected blood from the wall in the hallway across from the common bathroom.
What do you see in 8CC?
It's another angle of me standing from the back door looking down into the hallway, and you can see there's a scale where I swabbed suspected blood on that wall as well.
Okay, and in 8BB?
That would be a closer up image of the suspected blood that I saw that I was going to swab as evidence.
And even closer view?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and do you see State's 23?
I do.
What is State's 23?
It is a swab of that suspected blood area on the wall.
What is State's 8FF?
This is the lamp that was in the photos, my item number 9, in previous photos in the hallway. There is suspected blood drop on the bulb of that lamp. So the scale that I have in there is just showing that I'm going to collect a swab of that suspected area of blood as well.
Okay, and State's 25? What is State's 25?
Is a swab of that suspected area of blood.
All right, looking at 8GG, what do we see here?
So this is the hallway closet area, and these are the dowel rods that I was speaking about earlier. So we ended up trying to do trajectory because this particular closet door had an entry hole and an exit hole. So I was able to place a rod in to try to determine the angle at which the bullet entered that door. And so that's a photograph of the rod as I placed it through into the door.
And in 8H8, what do we see?
That is me opening the door so that you can get a better view of it coming in through the door of the inside, showing that it's slightly at a downward angle.
And in 8II?
Again, that's just other angles of me trying to take a picture of the trajectory rod. It was, as you can see, it was a very small hallway, not a very wide hallway, so it was hard for me to try to get like a perfect angle on it to get the entire picture in it. So I just kind of took a bunch of pictures from all different angles.
Okay, so if you're looking at the trajectory rod from the, it would appear to be going what direction?
It appeared to be going from the right to the left, and it was slightly downward.
Okay, and this is an AJJ, another view of the trajectory rod.
It is, and that's just facing out towards the master bedroom area.
Okay, so this is showing if you're looking, if you're at the closet, looking out towards the direction the bullet would have came from, would have been in the master bedroom.
It appeared so, yes, ma'am.
What do we see in 8KK?
So this is,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. It's a little blurry, but this is, yeah, I'm not sure. It's still, I mean, I can explain it. Yeah. So this is a photograph that I mentioned. You can see the debris on the towel. There was also a little hole in that towel. And right here is the projectile that was located inside of that hallway closet.
All right, and what do we see in 8LL?
It's another photograph of my evidence marker showing that the projectile that I located was item 17 for our evidence purposes.
And then 8MM?
It's another close-up shot of the projectile area where it was located in the hallway closet.
And then 8NN?
Might be a little difficult to see, it's so clear to me, but there's where the hole in that towel was that I located, and you can see all the debris from the door, from the exit of the bullet.
And did you, what did you do with the projectile that you found there?
I took a swab of the projectile, the entire projectile.
And did you then impound both the projectile and the swab into evidence at CPD?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have the 626 and 27?
I do.
What is 626?
26 is the projectile from the third shelf in the hallway closet that I collected. And 27 is a swab of that projectile that I collected. All right, thank you. Sure.
All right, so let's move on to the, once you get situated, let's move on to the master bedroom.
Okay.
All right, so inside your master bedroom notebook, you see some pictures.
I did, yes.
All right, and those should be marked in this A through HH. You've had an opportunity to look through those photos before court today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are those true and accurate depictions of how the master bedroom appeared?
They are.
All right, I want to go through those pictures with you and then go through the items that you collected just as we just did.
Okay. Thank you.
See in 28A.
This is a photograph that I was taking again at the back of the hall, towards the back of the hallway. There's the twin girls' room, and the master bedroom is here.
And in 28B.
It's a photograph of me essentially standing inside of the doorway of the twins' bedroom and looking into the master bedroom.
In 28C.
This is a closer up, or what we call a mid-range picture of the door frame in the master bedroom, and I was photographing the suspected blood swipes here.
And in 28B.
That's a closer image with my evidence scale on it showing the suspected blood on the door frame of the master bedroom door.
And did you swab the suspected blood on the door frame?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And when safety exhibit 29 should be the first sleeve in your notebook there.
It is.
Have you had an opportunity to look through all the items in the notebook, all of the different swabs and items that you collected from the master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they all in the same condition as when you impounded them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What is state 29?
It is a swab of suspected blood that I took from that exterior master door.
And 28 E, what do we see here?
It's another photo of me heading into the master bedroom. So that's the door there and just looking straight inside of the door.
So the door frame that we just saw would be on your right.
Yes, ma'am, it's right there.
28F.
Is now I've come all the way in through the master bedroom and I'm taking a picture from the other side of the wall outside of the bedroom.
And you told us that the TV was on in the master bedroom.
It was.
TV you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
What do we see in 28G?
There was a silver color bracelet on the floor, and this is right at the entry, right inside of the master bedroom door, and it appeared to have suspected blood on it at the time, so I collected that bracelet as evidence.
And do you see State's Exhibit 30 in your notebook?
I do, yes, ma'am.
What is 30?
That's the bracelet that I collected. Item number 10.
All right, 28H.
Is another photograph looking into the master bedroom, and you can see the evidence markers for items of evidence that I was planning on collecting from the room after I documented all of it.
I see some different spots on the carpet. I mean, what did you, is all of that suspected blood? What was that?
No, it didn't appear to be, and that I kind of went through the carpet all throughout the house. I kind of just assumed because there were 3 small children in the house, a lot of it looked like dirt. So, I mean, obviously suspected blood, the color of our blood is generally red. So a lot of those stains appear to be like gray or black. So none of them appear to be suspected blood to me. It just kind of looked like dirt and years of use with like kids and stains running through carpets in the home. So it was all throughout the home.
Okay, so just typical stains on the carpet from having kids, but all the items that you suspected may be blood you swapped.
I did, yes, ma'am.
In 28I, what do we see?
This is a photo of the bed in the master bedroom, and it's my evidence marker 11. You can just see that there's a wallet on the right side of there, and it looked like a lot of the wallet was empty, and it looked like the stuff had been taken out of the wallet and just laid on the bed. So I documented that just to show where I found it.
In 28J,
Is a closer up picture of some of the items that were located on the bed.
okay, so you tried to take pictures of all of the items throughout the shown contents on the bed.
I did, yes, just to show what they were closer up.
In 28K,
Is the right side of that where you can see the other items on the other side.
in 28L,
Is another angle. I took a lot of pictures just showing what was on the bed.
and there were a number of cards.
There
in the
were.
bed.
And paperwork, yes, ma'am.
And then what's this?
This is I called it a multicolored wallet.
In State's Exhibit 28M,
Is a purse that was on the floor just below the master bed.
right, looking at the packages you have in front of you, States 31 and 32. What are 31 and 32?
States 31 is the contents of the purse that was on the master bed.
Okay, and what about 32?
And states 32 is the actual purse on the floor that was next to the master bed.
And I appreciate, I've left some gloves up there for you, just showing them the purse and the wallet, and the jury will have that package out in the room, if they need it.
Okay. So this is the purse that I collected.
That's just standard procedure. When you use gloves and handling blood on it, it's not something special in this case. I think there was something special going on here.
And did you want this open as well?
I'm sorry?
Did you ask me to open this as well? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Just the purse?
sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And this was the wallet.
What do we see in 28 in?
This is a photo on the side of Brandi Peters, of the master bedroom. It's the northwest corner. On the wall, what I was showing is there's a corded phone that's here on the floor that appeared to have damage to it.
Okay, in 28-0.
Is another image of that phone area. I located, there's the piece that the wall jack goes to, and here was broken off, and that plastic piece was still inside of the wall. So I was just documenting the damage to the phone.
Okay, and did you collect that phone?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Turning your attention to should be the last package you have there in front of you, State Exhibit 33. What is 33?
It is a corded phone on the floor that I located.
Okay. What do we see in 28P?
That's a closer up image of me taking a photo just to show the damage, that there was actually no plastic end of that jack on that cord there that was supposed to go into the wall.
Did you end up, did you swab the phone?
I did.
Okay. What areas of the phone did you swab?
I swabbed the handle of the phone where they would have held it, and I swabbed what I called the cradle area of the phone, is where you would have put it down, the bottom piece of it. And I also swabbed the broken end of the cord that was supposed to go into the wall.
Okay, and looking in your binder at State Exhibit 34 and 36, can you tell us what those items are?
Yes, ma'am. 34 is a swab of the end area of the phone cord. 35 is a swab of the sides of the phone cradle area of the phone. And 36 was a swab of the handset of the phone.
Okay. And then looking at 28R, what do we see in 28R?
28R is the same area where I picked up the phone. The item number, my marker, item number 13 was where the phone was. And there's another item of evidence, 41 over there.
Okay, and in 28S,
Excuse me, it's another image of that same area on the side with evidence markers in it.
what do we see in 28T?
This is the bed sheet on the master bed. If you're looking at the bed, it's the top right side of the bed. There is an area here that I located that had suspected blood right there. So I was documenting that area on the bed.
Okay, and did you swab the suspected blood?
I did, yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at item 37 in your notebook. What is item 37?
It is a swab of that suspected blood area on the sheet.
What do we see in 28U?
This is the entertainment center in the master bedroom. This would essentially be the door over here. And so I was just documenting there were items of evidence collected from on top of the entertainment center that I located there as well.
Okay, and I believe Officer Wilder impounded those items. We'll hear from her and I'll move on to the next item that was impounded. What do we see in 28B?
So this is a bedroom, or I'm sorry, this is a window in the master bedroom. And the bed would be, oh, I'm so sorry, down here. And there's a suspected bullet hole in the curtains or the blinds there that actually went through the window and outside of the exterior window of the house.
What do we see in 28W?
So that's my documentation and my scales of the suspected bullet hole. So you can see the blind is where it was in the picture before with the hole, but it also shows behind the blinds there's a hole in the window, and it also goes onto the outside of the window as well.
In 28X.
And that's the exterior window where the bullet hole exited.
And 28Y.
It's a closer up image of that exit with my scale marker in it.
And then 28Z.
An even closer up image of that same exit hole in the window.
Okay. What do you see in 28AA?
Again, these were the dowel rods that I was speaking of. So when we came back to do the trajectory into where the bullet holes were, because this had at least 2 holes in it, I was able to stick the rod through to determine the trajectory of the bullet.
And then 28BB.
It's more side angles of it showing that it was slightly upward at an angle. It did appear just to be straight on. It didn't appear to be going left to right or right to left at all. It just appeared straight on and slightly upward. So I was taking pictures at different angles just to show from different views the angle of that trajectory rod.
Slightly closer view in 28BC.
Yes, ma'am. And there you go. As you can see it, as it's kind of going upward,
Right, and then 28BB.
is outside of the window where you can clearly see that it's going at an upward angle.
And 28EE.
Is another side view. I tried to get it from all angles just to show how the bullet path seemed to go.
And 28FF. This is from the other side of the rod on the outside of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you see in 28GG?
This,
I'll give you a closer up here. 28HH.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn around for a second. This is still in the bedroom. This is going into the master bathroom area right here. And there's an area of suspected blood. And that's my item number for the collection of the suspected swab, or the swab of that suspected blood.
Okay, so in GG, we're in the bedroom looking into the master bathroom. This is your evidence marker with the suspected blood. This would be the closer up view there in the doorway of the master bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you look in your notebook to state exhibit 42?
Yes, ma'am.
What is state exhibit 42?
It is a swab of that suspected blood area.
I want to go back to this picture that we saw, where you showed us where the phone was, and what was your 41 marker there? I think I was just telling you that.
I'm sorry. Yes, there was a gold toned, it was a bubble type earring that I located on the floor in there, and it just seemed to be out of place. So we documented and I collected it as evidence.
Okay. And in your notebook, you see state exhibit 38.
I do.
What is 38?
It is that gold toned bubble earring.
Okay. And we saw a picture from the top of the entertainment center. I know Investigator Wilder collected a few items, but did you collect state exhibits 40 and 41 in your notebook?
I did, yes, ma'am.
What are 40 and 41?
40 is a cigar that I located in the ashtray up there. I'm sorry, there's the ashtray. So I located a cigar in there, and 41 was a suspected marijuana cigarette that we located in there as well.
All right, so the last couple of pictures we saw were leading into the master bathroom. Was the master bathroom the next room that you processed?
Yes, ma'am.
Before court today, did you have an opportunity to look at state exhibit 43A through W, the photos of the master bathroom?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And were those accurate depictions of how the master bathroom looked that day?
Yes, they were.
Right. right, looking first at states 43A, what do we see here?
It's a picture that I took inside of, this is the master bathroom door. There just appeared to be some kind of scuff mark, in my opinion, scuff mark on the door. So there was some kind of discoloration on the door. I was just documenting that it was there.
Okay. And 43B,
Is another view inside of the master bathroom.
okay, so this picture would be taken from the doorway from the master bedroom going into the master bath,
Yes.
right? And what do we see in 43C? Oh, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask you about in 43B, did you collect some evidence from the door handle?
Yes, I did. I collected a swab of the exterior door handle of the bathroom door.
Okay, what's states 44?
Is a swab of that exterior door handle.
Okay. And did you also swab, I guess, the other door handle we see in this photo? That would be the door to the leading into the toilet.
That's what I called it. Yes, ma'am. I took a swab of the exterior of that door handle as well.
Okay. And that's state exhibit 45?
It is. Yes, ma'am.
Looking at 43C, what do we see here?
So when you walk into the master bathroom, directly to your right is the vanity there. So it had a double sink vanity and then just a mirror. So I'm documenting what I saw inside of the bathroom at the time.
And did you collect any evidence from the counter?
I did. I collected swabs of both of the faucet handles in the master bathroom. And I also collected, there was a red and black piece of hair on the countertop there. So I collected that as well because it appeared to match the type of hair that was on Brandi's head at the time.
Okay, in your notebook, can you tell us what states 46 through 48 are?
46 is a swab of the west side of the bathroom faucet handle, of this bathroom faucet handle. 47 is a swab of the other bathroom faucet handle. And 48 is the piece of hair on the counter that I collected.
Okay. When you say the other one, this one on the other side, not the other bathroom, just the.
That, yes, ma'am,
Gotcha.
the other faucet.
In 43D, what do we see here?
So in this picture, it's still looking into the bathroom. You can see I just called this a toilet room. I wasn't sure what else to call it. So that's where the toilet room is, and there's shattered glass here. And there's some missing glass there as well. I located an indentation in the frame, and it appeared that it had been hit with a bullet. So I was documenting the damage to the door.
In 43E,
So on the floor here where I located a lot of broken glass, there's also a bullet, a projectile that was located on that towel.
43F,
Is a closer up image of that projectile that you can see right here. That's right below where all the damage was in the glass in the shower.
what do we see in 43G?
So this is after I've laid down my evidence markers for what I'm going to collect. You can see that I've laid it down where that projectile was, and I also put a scale on here because there's an indentation where it looked like the bullet actually hit that, and that's where it fell down to the ground and damaged the glass as well. So I'm documenting all the damage I see in there.
Did you collect a projectile that hit the shower door there and landed on the towel below?
I did.
Okay, looking at stage 49, what stage 49?
That's the projectile that was on the towel.
And you told us that you put a scale next to the indentation on the shower door. Is that what we see in 43H?
Yes, ma'am. So that's my
Can you show
evidence
us the
marker.
indentation?
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. There's my evidence marker there, and right below it here, you can see the damage to the door frame where I believe the bullet hit and then fell to the ground.
Okay, and the glass that's kind of shattered here, some of it's still in place. That was like that all the way up, as we could kind of see in the first photo you showed us.
Yes, it was.
In 43I is the close-up of the projectile that was on the towel that you told us was State's Exhibit 49.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And so after a bullet's fired from a gun, this is kind of the finished product there.
Well, it hit a hard, flat surface. So, I mean, generally the bullet is kind of round and curved, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Go back to 43G. You see another evidence marker over here.
Yes, ma'am.
What's over there?
There's another projectile that I located on the floor right here in the toilet room.
All right, looking at 43J, what is this?
That is a projectile that's on the floor in the toilet area in that room.
Slightly different shape than the last one we saw.
It is.
Did you collect this projectile?
I did.
Is that State's Exhibit 50 in your binder?
It is. Yes, ma'am.
And I guess, was this kind of right below the toilet paper rack there in the bathroom?
It was.
Okay.
You kind of
Would
see
you
it.
the toilet paper rack?
Yes, it is.
43K?
This is that toilet room door. It was initially open at the time, so when we closed it, you can see that there is the suspected bullet hole entry into that door. And then when we opened the door, there was the exit.
And 43L?
And that's the inside of the door. So I've just opened it and come on inside the bathroom area. So that's where the bullet exited through into the toilet room area.
43M?
Those are closer up pictures of my actual scale showing the bullet hole in the door, the toilet room door.
Can we see that one is labeled as G?
Yes, ma'am.
What do we see in 43N, the one labeled as F?
That's the entry. That's the outside of the door where it entered through. And then G was where it exited.
And in 43O, what do we see here?
This is the dowel rods again that I used to try to determine the trajectory of the bullet in this door in the closet room or the toilet room. So
43P?
is another angle of it. So I just went to the side of the bathroom now to show you the angle. So it appeared to go from the left to the right, and it was at a downward angle from the door.
43Q?
Is another picture further out because again, it was another tight area in that initial door space. So I came further out to show the dowel rod.
So we're back in the bedroom, looking past the suspected bullet spatter that you saw and looking towards the toilet room.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that bullet, you said the trajectory is at a downward angle?
Yes, so you can see with the rod how it's going upwards.
In 43R, do you see the trajectory with the door open?
Yes.
In 43S?
This is me standing on top of the toilet, trying to get the picture. I noticed that there was an indent in the very bottom section of that porcelain part of the toilet. So when I was taking a picture inside on the toilet, looking at the trajectory rod, it would have appeared that the bullet would have gone straight into the toilet, and that's where I located that indentation.
Okay. 43T?
Is another closer up image of the inside. I'm inside of the toilet area right here. So that's the angle of the bullet coming through the door.
All right, and in 43N, can you show us where you see the projectile in this photo?
Yes, ma'am. It's right there.
Right? And in 43V, here what were you trying to show when you put the scale there?
So this is that indentation I had mentioned. After I'd done the trajectory rod and seen where the bullet should have hit, there's a mark, there's a scuff right here on the toilet where it appeared that the bullet had actually hit that area there and then kind of ricocheted off to the side.
Okay, so there was 2 projectiles total in the bathroom, one that hit the shower and fell down onto the towel below, and the other one that went at a downward angle through the toilet room door, hit the toilet, and landed below the toilet paper rack.
Yes, ma'am.
You get a good stopping point, Miss Dugan. We're probably ready for a little break.
I was looking at the pictures and I don't think this guy ever changed the carpet or the door or anything. I think it's all the same. The day she was shot. Can you imagine? Oh my God. How cheap can you be? Look. It's the same door. There was no permit pulled for a door. It's the same garage door. Look how yellow that is. It was originally white and it yellows with age and sun. Wow. So this is the hallway that just goes right to that back door. That's the master bedroom. The bed right there. Doesn't it look like Wendy's shower? That had to be replaced because he didn't have a choice. But that's the same tile. That's the same tile. That is all the same tile. That's the same countertop. This dude tried to sell this for $280,000. He never replaced anything. No permits are pulled. It's all original. The roof, everything. Like nothing has changed. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I can't. So gross. Yeah, it's the same door. So this is after they were murdered and before he was arrested. This is the house. So they had a vigil, right? It's the same. That's boarded up. So that glass was replaced, but so that was boarded up, but that's it. The door's the same. It's disgusting. I don't know how people live with themselves. Yeah. He just listed it this I think it was December. All I can say is welcome to Tallahassee. Everyone, yeah, they think their house is like has an emerald mine under it or something. It's not unusual. I'm sure it's the same way. I mean, I've never sold real estate in other locations, but you would think it's, people try to, as John said, maximize the profits. Yeah, 238,000, and it was withdrawn. He had it listed for 2 months for $238,000. So when she rented it, she had not necessarily Section 8, but she probably had what they call a voucher to help assist with housing because she had 3 kids and probably didn't make a lot of money. It's just unbelievable. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I just don't understand. What did she write? Like, let me tell you what the remarks say. The agent wrote, this is marketing. Ready? Welcome to this charming 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home in desirable Dry Creek Run. Built in 06, this 1261 property offers cozy and functional layout. Features a spacious living area, a modern kitchen, that's 19 years old, and a finished garage, means drywall in the garage, for convenient parking or storage. Enjoy the outdoor space. Perfect for gardening or relaxation. I have chills. This home is ideal for comfortable family living. Do not miss the opportunity to make this your home. Yeah, he missed out on a rent payment, so he relisted it. Exactly. He's in South Florida. And I checked out the seller disclosure. So in Florida, people don't believe me. They always want to challenge me on this. But in Florida, you are not obligated to disclose whether there was a crime in the property, a murder in the property, or someone died at the property. Now, if there was a fire, you have to disclose that because it affected the structure, but that's it. There's literally nothing in here. I mean, he's never updated it. Like, not one thing. Not the air conditioner, nothing. Ugh. You have to keep your mouth shut. Yeah. And it's because, now in this case, I can tell you, when this happened, it affected the value of every home in that neighborhood. And there was only a murder in one home. But there was definitely stigma because it took a year to find the guy and arrest someone. So, but the whole neighborhood sunk in value. Just, can you, I mean, here's Patty. This is me showing you this home if I know there's a murder in it. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I do suggest that you look at the Tallahassee Democrat, page 12. That's what I suggest. If you don't have a subscription, I'll lend you mine. Like, big eyes. So we're not allowed to talk about crime in a neighborhood. We're not allowed. You can go down to the Murder K and get all the crime info you want, but we're not allowed to talk about it because it violates fair housing laws. And fair housing is the land of the free. We're not allowed. We're not allowed to say there were 12 robberies in a neighborhood like last week. We're not even supposed to give you the website that helps you locate the 12 robberies. So that's one reason why I started Living Tallahassee. And I also started another page called the Big Bend School Guide, because we're not allowed to talk about schools, but I can publish information about the schools and put it on a page, and you can find the page on your own because it's on my website. That way you can find it, but we're not allowed to tell you what the shit schools are here or the great schools. We're not allowed to do either one. What you're saying, some with past grow ops has to be disclosed. What about the buyer's rights? Doesn't matter. Okay, John? The buyer has a duty to do their own research. And that's that. Like, we don't live in the home. And so I just got to the point where I will say to people, I have several Facebook pages. Please join me. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you're concerned about crime, I refer you to the Tallahassee Police Department or the Leon County Sheriff's Department. That's what I'm allowed to say. And I usually stretch my jaw out like that. So true. Now, if I know there was a murder at a property like that, where there's like 4 or 8, there has not been that. I mean, we had the Sims murder back in the 60s, this murder, the Bundy. I mean, that's pretty much it for group murders here. At least Rebecca might know of more, but I don't know of more than that. There is a website. This appraiser went all out and developed a website where you have to pay to find out if there was a murder in the house before you buy it, but you got to pay them for that information. No, I mean, you're not going to know necessarily. Think about this. So now we have an amendment to our Constitution. I think it's number 2000 amendment, Marsy's Law, and it's spelled MARSY''S. And Marsy's Law protects the victim, which has its positive, also has its negative. So because the victim, like say it's a rape or a child or a murder, I mean, it can even be a murder, that is redacted often in public records now in the court docs. That address is redacted. So if you're not up on present crime information, you wouldn't know anyway because they're redacting it. So if, say, there was a string of rapes in a neighborhood, there's really almost no way to know that anymore. You just don't know. So say there was college girls got raped and it was in a row of townhomes and they never caught the guy. There's really no way to know unless you speak to neighbors, which if I'm at the property and I see neighbors out, I always ask the buyer if they feel comfortable going up to the neighbor and talking to them, because that might help them. But we're not allowed to disclose because it doesn't technically affect the material value of the actual property. So when, as an appraiser, I am an appraiser, residential appraiser, we don't disclose that there either. Can you imagine the hell I would go through if I put in that there had been a murder there in 2010? I can't even say school anymore in an appraisal. I can't say it's within a mile from a school. I can't use the word walk. I can't use the word it's walking distance because some people can't walk. Can't say it. There's a whole list of words we're not allowed to use anymore, and walk is one of them. I don't know why we have photos in there because blind people can't see the photo, but that's the way it is. The last time I bought, I went knocking on the neighbors' doors and asked them about the neighborhood. I would too. And if it's tenant occupied, that's an easy one. If the home they're buying has a tenant in it, tenants are already ready to tell you everything wrong with the property. So that's an easy one. But overall, the real estate agent is in a bind. Mm-hmm. I'll bet if there was a crack in the foundation that was not disclosed, you'd be sued up. Until recently, if it had flooded or been in a flood zone, it was not a required disclosure. Mm-hmm. So say the flood zones changed, FEMA changed the map, and now you're not in a flood zone, but you were in a flood zone, which there's always a possibility of flood. It's Florida. Then you didn't have to disclose anything. I can't even tell you. It puts the real estate agent in the bind, but nobody cares. Growing list of words you can no longer say. This is 2023. And then I'm going to go. You can't say affordable. So if I'm appraising a property that's listed under affordable housing, I'm not allowed to say it. Can't say neighborhood. Say subdivision. What else would pay attention? I can't say, like if I say it's in a, there's a blind, like on the property, there's a blind area. I can't say blind. You know, the one that you can't really visualize, it's blind. Can't say it. There are times like we have a street here called White Drive. I had to add an explanation about why it's called White Drive. True story. Black Bear, can't say it. Cheap, can't say it, which I don't know why I would. Let's see. Church ended probably in about 2004. Now here you say house. Well, you were allowed to say house of worship, but now they're changing that. And I don't know what the change is going to be. Can't say crime. Can't say cripple, which I don't know why I would say that. Can't say desirable. Can't say walk. Can't say exclusive. Can't say gang. What else? If I am appraising a home that has hoarding in it, where it's tons of stuff, I'm not allowed to use the word hoard, hoarding, or hoarder. Can't say shelter. Like I can't say, even though it affects the value of the property, that if there's a shelter next door, I'm not allowed to say shelter. Even though a home is a shelter isn't always a home. I'm not allowed to say it. What else? Can't say mosque. Can't say owner. Cannot say ownership. You can no longer say the neighborhood offers pride of ownership. I'm not allowed to use the word ownership. Can't say old. Can't say pride. Can't say project. Like if the seller is working on a project or you project, can't use the word. I'm not allowed to project a trend. I'm not allowed to use that. What? So can't say public housing. Can't say public assistance, even though that's how they get the house. That's how she got the house. Can't say it. Can't say. You can say barrel tile roofs, which is like South Florida. It's those concrete tile, but I can't say Spanish. I can't say Spanish architecture, even though it is Spanish architecture. Can't say it. For someone like me, it just kills me. Can't say transient, where people move in and move out. No. Because it has to be a negative connotation that there's transients or homeless people around the neighborhood. Can't say it. Can't say women. Can't say men. Can't say anything. Can you say, we say here zip code. So no, we wouldn't say postcode. Can you suggest where to put the Christmas tree? I would say don't put it up if you're going to sell your house. That's what I tell people. Go to your in-laws, celebrate Christmas there, but you don't want to list your home with a Christmas tree in it. It's really hard. It's really hard. Who makes up these rules? Democrats. It's the truth. The long line of bureaucrats in housing and urban development who have never been replaced with anyone, who think they're helping, but they're not. So today we have a new secretary of HUD. His last name is Turner, African-American man, seems to be extremely intelligent. I don't know his background, but he eliminated one of the rules that the Bidens thought were a good idea. So in that rule, it was, let's take Benton where Trescott is. I think there's like 2 or 3 vacant lots still on Trescott. So let's pretend I bought the lot. It's like 2 doors down, 3 doors down from Trescott, left of it. When you're looking at the house, it's to the left. And it's for sale. And I wanted to build a single family home on it. They would tell you, you can't. You have to build a multifamily. Even though that's not the neighborhood, that's not what fits in the neighborhood, that's not easily to appraise, that's not anything. No, because you have to allow affordable housing. You have to, if you build a new subdivision with an HOA, which is a homeowners association, you have to put in this neighborhood low-income housing. And when you do it, it's actually cruel to me. We have a newer neighborhood called Canopy, which is, there is no canopy. They literally gutted the land and built these homes up. I mean, clear cut, not a tree in sight, took it all out. And they had to put in low income housing. So let's pretend I qualify. I could only make no more than $50,000 a year. I can't basically be married because married people really aren't going to qualify because you're going to be over that. You have to promise, and you can't sell the home for 7 years. So you're not allowed to build equity in the property, which is the part that pissed me off. And you're not allowed to refinance it. You're not allowed to do anything at all. But it had to be built. And they're horrible. There was no garage. They were really tiny. The rooms wouldn't even fit a queen size bed. I mean, there was nothing logical about the property. But HUD required it. HUD required something in there with a number of homes labeled. Now, they could call it low income. I, as the appraiser, am not allowed to call it low income. Now, if I were to go, I mean, I couldn't even really technically appraise one of those homes because they can't refinance it. It's horrible. And you can't build wealth. That's what happens when the government steps in, and they shouldn't. But anyway, this rule ended today. And I was very excited about it because it's ridiculous. There's no reason that you should lower the value of all the homes because you want to put a quad, which is 2 units and 2 units, like 2 flats and 2 flats, 1, 2, 3, 4, next to $2 million properties. That's what they wanted. They call it fill in here. So instead of starting a new neighborhood, and let's pretend you don't clear cut it. Let's pretend you try to keep every tree in sight. People still lose their minds here because they'll say we should be using the fill-in properties, which are the vacant lands in established neighborhoods. A lot of those aren't buildable lots. They're owned lots, but they're not buildable lots, meaning the water table is too high, so you can't really build on it, or there's too much clay, or there's reasons why these properties aren't built. But not here. It's just crazy land. In my experience, affordable housing doesn't work when the builder is for profit, only when it's government, and there is none of that here. No. They hire the same builders for everything. Everything. You know what I would like to doge? This county. That's what I would. All the counties around here. It's all inbred. Everybody went to high school together, grade school together. They're all inbred. Everything. It's always the same people. Every time. You're welcome, Creative. I know a couple in Holland that sold their row house and they decorated the entire place for Christmas, and it was July and it sold. I have no comment because I don't know Holland's real estate. But I know here in Florida, if you put a tree up and it's up till July, people are going to think you're nuts because it's hot. So there is that. We do suggest people, like say you were going to list your home in November. Here, springtime is beautiful. It's the absolute most beautiful time of year. And everything's budding and it is just gorgeous. We suggest, even if for some reason your job, you can't move until November, we suggest you get your pictures now. So say you're a gardener and you're mulched out and made it pretty, get your pictures now and publish them in November. And then it's not as big of a deal. You won't have Christmas tree lights or your Thanksgiving. It's fall y'all stuff out. That's what they say here. It's fall y'all. And so you don't want that stuff, too personalized in your home when you sell it. So we always suggest people, if you're going to list with us, do the pictures soon. We call them council housing. You see it less and less, but I made some decent money painting on those years ago. Well, the government here doesn't build anything well. I mean, it was going to take them 2 years to fix the main sewer line of Thomasville Road. And which, if you recall, with the Markel murder, Lewis and Sigfredo, Lewis was driving the Prius up Thomasville Road after they shot Dan Markel in his garage. So that's the road. So they were going to fix it and add sidewalks and narrow the road. And it was 2 years. 2 years to do less than a mile worth of work. 2. It's insane here. I have nothing to say that's nice about our growth management, our planning, our permitting office, nothing. And no one does. No one does. I mean, people say that with the new mayor, you'll hear it. You'll hear, with the new mayor, we're going to fix permitting. It's worse than it ever has been. Ever. Good night, Creative. I'm going to go too because it's 8. So I'm going to go. Thank you so much. I'm going to try and be on tomorrow to watch the next witness of the Henry Segura. I hope you guys have a nice evening. Thanks for letting me vent about affordable housing. I love to talk about it. Patty makes a great point. That's all we need to know. I don't know what my great point is, but thank you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.